Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. And today, it's kind of personal because AI is moving into dominating podcasting. Now, we all knew this was coming, but Tess Patton of The Wrap had a really good write-up on this. And if you didn't know, there are already at least 175,000 AI-generated podcast episodes on platforms like Spotify and Apple. That is thanks to a company called Inception Point AI. They're a startup, they have 8 employees, and they are basically releasing 3,000 podcast episodes a week. They're covering everything from localized weather reports and pollen trackers to detailed accounting of things like Charlie Kirk's assassination and its cultural impact, a biography series on Anna Wintour, and on and on and on. In other words, it's very diverse. So, its podcasting network, known as Quiet Please, has generated 12 million lifetime episodes downloads and amassed 400,000 subscribers. So yeah, people are listening to this. They really are. That's a huge, huge number. I have over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, for example, and it took me literally years to get to that point, and hopefully still growing, right? But Inception Point's ability to flood the market with audio episodes faster than any human team could essentially match or keep up with this just really kind of bleakly illustrates the promise of AI in the nightmare scenario that it really can come for every job, right? So even as companies have shed more than 1 million jobs this year, with many citing AI as the reason, there was a belief that certain creative roles would be safe. The biggest allure of a podcast, after all, is the personality of the host. And Tess Patton is completely right. I think that a good chunk of you that are listening to this or watching me or however you're ingesting my stuff, I hope you'd like me, or at least you're here to call me an idiot. But the point is, my personality is part of this, not just the information delivery, right? But the CEO of Inception Point, Janine Wright, believes the tool is proof that automation can make podcasting scalable, profitable, and accessible without human writers, editors, or hosts. And I quote, "The price is now so expensive that you can take a lot of risks. You can make a lot of content and a lot of different genres that were never commercially viable before and serve huge audiences that have never really had content made for them," end quote. At a cost of roughly $1 an episode, Wright takes a quantity over quality approach. And I think that's one of the big issues here, is that we've seen in the social media world, forgetting artificial intelligence, we have seen the zone absolutely flooded with quantity, not quality, including misinformation, disinformation, demonstrably false information in any kind of category that you can name of, not to mention hyperbolic articles that are partisan, with the algorithms driving us one way or the other. This is, I think, a recipe for disaster. And I don't want to listen to an artificial intelligence basically tell me about something that I'm interested in. I'd rather listen to an expert that can make causal links or relations, in, let's say, something I'm interested in, like history, for example, way more than an artificial intelligence could. And that person would most likely do it accurately. Again, I've talked about this in the past, how we view answers given by an artificial intelligence as authoritative when oftentimes they downright lie to us. They hallucinate to us, or they mix up facts, or they just make stuff up because they think that's what we want to hear. So if I'm listening to a biography of Anna Wintour done by an AI, I'm wondering how much of that is actually accurate and what parts potentially aren't, or anything else that I'd be listening to with, that was generated solely by an AI with virtually no human oversight. And at 3,000 podcasts, just rapidly, like every week, those 8 people on the staff of Inception Point, there's no way they would be able to keep up with this. Not to mention biases can creep in. You can train your artificial intelligence to be as wonderful or as terribly racist as you want it to be and put out information basically non-stop, left and right, flooding the zone like all that disinformation was, and here we go. So I think this is a recipe for disaster in the long term. I'm not a fan of this. And it's not just the fact that I had to claw my way to the amount of subscribers and followers that I have. It's that what I want to put out is accurate, is truth, and there's accountability in my podcast, my radio show, my video series, because the buck stops with me. If I get something wrong, I get called out on it, and yeah, okay, great. It's not one of 3,000 episodes I cranked out and I'm not keeping up with. I'll address it. So these are things to consider, but in a time of rapid real-time information delivery, good, bad, or absolutely ugly, we need time to step back and really start digesting this stuff. And so AI dropping a supercharger and just releasing a whole bunch of random stuff, not a good thing. And I understand serving underserved communities, et cetera, but I would like to think there's a human element there. And I would like to think that we should pride ourselves in our accuracy, basically our quality over quantity. And clearly that's not the case for Inception Point. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where you're going to get me, not an artificial intelligence, and I'm going to be talking the truth to you as best I can, as factually as I can. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please, please, please attempt to stay private, informed, and secure. Take care.